Pat, I'm really sorry, but I need to take a break from podcasting. There's so many games that I need to play. I don't find the time anymore for our recording sessions. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I totally understand you. I mean, I have all these retro games to play. Yeah.
So we're in agreement. We're going to take a little summer break.
A summer break? Okay, yes, sure.
What are you talking about?
Roll the intro. Roll the intro.
Welcome to Passion of the Geeks, the show in which two friends and fellow geeks talk about geek and pop culture and everything else we enjoy. I'm Greg.
And I'm Pat.
And let's get on with this show. Hello, Pat. How are you doing?
Hello, Greg. I'm doing mighty fine. It's a bit hot right now, but it's summer.
Yeah, that's why we're recording our summer game spectacular today, where we talk about all the games that we look forward to play. Well, maybe not this summer, but maybe in future summers. So we have a fully packed episode. It's getting hotter outside, so we don't want to lose any time. I'm really excited to talk to you about new games for a change. Kind of our resident retro gamer here. This week is all about new games. You can talk about retro games next week. But before we talk about all the new game news that came out of E3 this year, let's talk about some news. Pat, anything interesting you found out today?
Oh, yes. Keeping with the game theme for today, I found out, well, actually it has been a couple of weeks ago, that we kind of got the announcement that Sony will be porting Uncharted 4 to the PC. And we just know about that because they announced it in one of their big investor meetings. And they specifically talked about Uncharted 4. And I mean, I know I have Uncharted 4 for the PS4. And I'm still very excited because it's one of my favorite games. And I recently wanted to play it again. Maybe I wait a little bit longer and I will certainly buy the PC version and play it there. And I think it's great that Sony has decided to kind of port some of their exclusive titles to the PC. We had Death Stranding, which I didn't like, but we had Horizon Zero Dawn, which was an awesome port. It was a bit wonky at the beginning, but after a couple of patches, it was an awesome port. And Uncharted 4 is one of my favorite games, and I'm really, really happy that PC Master Race gets that, and that a lot of PC users will have the chance to play that game.
I mean, they're probably trying to get the word out that the Uncharted games are pretty cool. And maybe Uncharted 4 being released on PC means that there is an Uncharted 5 somewhere on the horizon. So we give you Uncharted 4 now on the PC, but if you want to play the new one, you have to buy a PS5. If you can.
You know, if that would be the truth, I would be so happy. I know that Uncharted 4 kind of wraps up everything, and it's a great ending for a series, but I would really love another Uncharted game, really. So I would be happy if that would be the truth.
So we'll see, but obviously Sony trying to get some money out of their properties. I think it's called capitalism, but
yeah, I love capitalism.
Well, not always, not always.
Not always, no. What about you?
I'm actually sticking to some video game and Sony news as well. So there are two news items that I think are a little bit related, but maybe not. So apparently Cyberpunk is back on the PlayStation Store. So we haven't talked too much about Cyberpunk. We talked a little bit about it in the beginning. The launch of Cyberpunk, especially on the PS4, was, let's say it wasn't great. Mm-hmm. But apparently they patched the game, or they have a version of the game now that at least Sony thinks is okay to sell in the PS Store, in the PlayStation Store. Obviously, they recommend either playing it on a PS4 Pro or on a PS5 if you can get your hands on one. So, yeah, make of that piece of news what you want. But connected to the news, or at least connected to me for that, is Sony also announced, or maybe it wasn't a real announcement, but they said that Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok, 2 new big Sony titles that at least I am very, very excited for. They're supposed to be cross-generational as well. So apparently Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok are supposed to be playable on a PS4. And I mean, from a business perspective, I kind of get it because, yeah, there are not that many PS5s around as they would like because, yeah, chip shortages and everything. I mean, it's still hard to get a PlayStation 5 at this point. They're still sold out everywhere. Maybe you can get them on eBay a little bit easier than you used to, but they're hard to get. So maybe that's the reason, but they can't be the same games on a PS4 and a PS5. There have to be some differences. Maybe it's just graphics, or maybe it's just, you don't have all the features. But I mean, the PS5 controller has these adaptive triggers and stuff like that. I mean, I hope they will use them in Forbidden West or God of War, and they can't do that on a PS4. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to turn out. But yeah, I mean, I have a PS5, so obviously I will play these games on PS5, but what about all the other people who only have a PS4? Will they have a second-grade experience with these AAA top-tier games? I don't know.
That's a good question because, usually when you have a multi-platform game, you take the weakest platform as the grade of what you want to reach and just give the other platforms kind of a little bit more if you have the budget for it. But having a game being kind of stripped down for a previous platform, I think that's not an easy feat. So I wonder how they will be able to play that and how they will look. Maybe it's just less graphics and it will be just as playable. But yeah, as you said, there are a couple of hardware controller things that are slightly different. That's going to be interesting.
I mean, they're not in the exact same boat as CD Projekt Red was with Cyberpunk, because I mean, both Guerrilla Games and Santa Monica Studios, they're only developing it for PlayStation. So yeah. I mean, Cyberpunk, they had PC and Xbox and PlayStation and whatever, that all these different platforms. And I mean, technically, it's one platform and 2 generations. I don't know how different the system is, kind of the difference between the system PS5 and PS4, if it's just more power for the PS5, because I think the architecture itself is very, very similar. Obviously, there's the SSD and stuff like that, but it's not a completely new system that you need to get your stuff to work on. It's just a system with less power. Maybe that makes it easier. I don't know.
It's probably like developing something for a PC where you just have different, detail levels and stuff. So maybe it's not a big deal.
Maybe not. Okay, so let's move on. Check this out. So do you have anything interesting for our listeners to check out this week?
Yeah, I mean, this is an episode about new games, but in my heart, I'm still a bit of a retro gamer, and I want to combine both of them. So today I want to talk very briefly about Skald Against the Black Priory. It's a role-playing game that uses 8-bit aesthetics to tell their story. And through that, it allows the creator of the game to not have to animate everything. He can do a lot with narration, and this allows him to have some really, really great role-playing elements in there. And yeah, I think graphically it looks great, even if it has that 8-bit style. I think it's beautiful. It's a bit of a mix. It has a few horror elements in there, so it's not a sword and sorcery role-playing game. It goes a little bit something between the horror of a Call of Cthulhu game and a little bit of a Viking vibe. It's pretty cool. And yeah, right now there is the Prologue available on GOG.com and on Steam for free if you want to check this out. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the full game. It's not released yet, but it looks very promising.
Okay, sounds interesting. Anything else?
There's something I wanted to very briefly mention, and that is, of course, Loki. I've watched the first, 3 episodes, and I have to confess, I'm really, really looking forward to the next Loki Wednesday.
Yeah, Loki Wednesday, yeah, that's... I'm so excited about episode 4, yeah, so excited.
Yeah, really, really excited. I have a couple of people who said to me, it's too philosophical for them. They don't want all these philosophical questions in their superhero stories. And I don't get that because, I mean, good superhero comics always ask philosophical questions, whether it's just something about good against evil or something. But the way Loki handles this is fantastic. And yeah, I don't think I want to spoil too much right now. But just the very beginning, how they handle the TVA with their sort of 70s / Russian bureaucracy vibe. It's awesome.
Obviously, I completely agree with you. It's really, really good. I think people should watch it. And we will definitely talk about Loki. I mean, we've talked about all the Marvel shows so far. So definitely Loki is not going to be an exception here. And I think, well, we already told our listeners in our cold open that we're going to take a little break from regular big episodes over summer because, yeah, everyone needs some summer holiday. But I think we could promise our listeners that the first episode or big episode back after summer is going to be a Loki review.
Yeah.
And while we're at it, Black Widow is coming out as well. So why not make it a Marvel Mania episode or something where we talk about Loki, where we talk about Black Widow, and kind of, yeah, start a new era of our podcast where we can actually review new movies that are in cinemas.
Yeah, I really look forward to that.
So yeah, Loki, just very briefly from my point of view, I think the first 3 episodes are the best of these Marvel shows that have come out so far on Disney+. I think I enjoyed Loki the most. Maybe it's because Tom Hiddleston is just really, really watchable. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed the first 3 episodes of Loki, and I'm looking forward to the next 3.
Yeah, and then I'm looking forward to talking about that with you.
Definitely.
So, but let's get back to you. What do you want us to check out?
Keeping the game theme strong today, I have 2 games to recommend or that I think our listeners should check out. So I think the first one doesn't really need my help. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, the new title for a PS5. And I think if you have a PS5, chances are you probably already have this game, because this is one of the titles that a lot of people were looking forward to. Insomniac is, yeah, they're kind of on a roll. I mean, every Insomniac game I play, or kind of the last few Insomniac games I played, they've all been excellent. And Ratchet & Clank is no exception here. It's what I liked about it, it's not the longest game, but obviously it has some replay value with all the secrets and all the collectibles and all the upgrades to your weapons that you can do. But it's such a great game. It's basically an animated movie that you control the main character. Everything looks breathtaking. The action is really cool. The traversal is awesome. And kind of the speed of the game. Obviously, the SSD helps a lot there, but the way they load the environments and how fast you can move around in these environments, it's just really cool. I mean, at one point on one world, you get kind of like rocket boots that you can use for traversal. And from that moment, you can use it in every environment. It's not just they made this one environment especially for the rocket boots that you can, skate around in that environment at a very fast pace. No, you can do it in every environment. Or there is a kind of a gameplay segment where you're basically on a racing snail. And it's really fast and it's really cool. So if you have a PS5, there is no reason not to play Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. No reason whatsoever.
Cool.
That's the new game I've been playing. I've also been playing or spending some time with a game that is a little bit older. Our listeners might remember that I was a huge fan or am a huge fan of Doom Eternal. And just, I think, a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week or the week before, Doom 2016, kind of the predecessor of Doom Eternal, was released on Game Pass. So I decided, why wouldn't I want to play Doom or the predecessor of Doom Eternal? So I started to play it, and I have to admit, I like Doom Eternal a little bit more. But Doom 2016 is pretty good as well. So I think from kind of the combat puzzle of Doom Eternal, kind of the arena fights there, and kind of how colorful everything was, and the kind of the traversal mechanics with the dash and stuff like that. I really like that. But the level design of Doom 2016, the atmosphere and everything is really, really, really good. So I would recommend to play, if you haven't played any of the new Doom games, I would recommend playing Doom 2016 first and then really enjoying Doom Eternal. But even if you do it in the other order, it's perfectly fine as well. So that it really surprised me that in 2021 I started to love Doom games again. I wouldn't have thought that, to be honest. But Game Pass is pretty cool.
Well, and so is Doom 2016.
So you played Doom 2016, haven't you?
I played Doom 2016. I haven't played Eternal yet. I didn't have time for that, but I really like Doom 2016, so I can wholeheartedly agree here.
I mean, I think if you like Doom 2016, you're going to love Doom Eternal. You're going to love that one. Time to get Game Pass, Pat.
Yeah, I know.
Time to get Game Pass. Okay, I mean, speaking of Game Pass, let's segue into our story of the week. Our Summer Games Spectacular, where we talk a little bit about all the news, all the games that came out of E3. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're a little bit late to that party, but we are here on Passion of the Geeks. We're many, many things, but we're not a breaking news show. So we take our time to digest news. We take our time to kind of let them simmer a little bit, to give you our lukewarm takes.
Well, you've put that perfectly. But no, you're absolutely right. We're not about doing this in the nick of time. I like thinking about these things a little bit longer, and sometimes I don't have anything new to say, but sometimes I do. But yeah.
So, what's your overall lukewarm take about E3 2021?
The thing is, I've watched none of the presentations live. I always watched recordings, and I think that's probably a good thing because it allowed me to skip forward. Because I don't have all that time in the world. And one of the things I noticed is without an audience, a lot of these announcements just don't have the punch they have when there is a hall full of people cheering and clapping. So sometimes these presentations were made in a way as if they wanted to give the audience time to clap or something, but there's no one there. So And one thing that is very apparent, I think, is that we're now in a time where we actually feel the results of the pandemic, because basically everything is announced for next year. So everything is delayed. And or at least I think that is probably because of the pandemic, of people having to work from home and adjust their work style and everything. But what did you think?
I also did not watch them live for the same reason that you mentioned. One thing that I thought about while watching these presentations, or while fast forwarding through these presentations, I compared them a little bit to the Apple keynotes or the Apple product announcements or whatever they did during the last year with all the whole Corona thing.
Yeah.
And it struck me that actually Apple is doing a pretty good job of adjusting their keynotes to the new circumstances. Because an Apple keynote before was basically Tim Cook and his friends on a stage showing off new products. And now, during the pandemic, they're shooting these little movie presentations with different people in different environments, in different sets. Some of them are walking outside somewhere, showing off a product and things like that. So they're actually doing a pretty good job in kind of adjusting to these new circumstances. It's probably a question of money as well. And it seems to me that, these game developers, probably it's, as I said, it's a money question. But they're, as you said, they're just doing what they usually did and just waiting for the people to clap that aren't there. So that was, obviously there's a severe lack of energy that, at least for me, Apple kind of tries to, or is able to create by using filmmaking to kind of get around not having an audience. So that struck me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I totally agree. I think that some of the companies we're about to talk about did it a little bit better than others. But yeah, they were too much in a E3 vibe there. Yeah. I think they should have gone a step further.
I think so too. And speaking of games being announced, I'm pretty sure that all of these games are going to be delayed.
Yeah.
We're not going to see a Zelda game in 2022. Trust me, we're not going to see a Zelda in 2022. Okay, but let's talk a little bit about the individual presentations. Just quickly what struck us, or kind of what games we're interested in, and kind of what we're looking forward to. So let's start with Ubisoft. So what's your takeaway from the Ubisoft presentation? Or I think it's Ubisoft, isn't it?
That's a good
Ubisoft
question.
Or Ubisoft?
You know that it's a French. It's originally a French studio, so I think it's Ubisoft. But I think it has been Englishified, so that they call it Ubisoft.
But they have their kind of new tagline, or kind of new introduction to games. They're saying Ubisoft original.
Yeah.
And if it's Ubisoft, it should be an Ubisoft original. And if it's Ubisoft, it's okay with the A, which is the A. So I think it's Ubisoft.
Yeah, I think nowadays it's Ubisoft. I probably still call it TED Talk. Yeah, I probably still call it Ubisoft because I mean I've known them since 1987 or something. So yeah. By the way, it's one of the oldest studios still alive, or publishers still alive.
Okay,
but anyway,
we're here to talk about the games. Yeah.
Yeah. So all in all, their presentation was okay. I think it wasn't overly exciting. And I mean, yeah, they announced that they won't have a new Assassin's Creed title, which I thought is interesting because this was something they practically annually had a new Assassin's Creed title.
They had a 2-year or even longer break between Odyssey and Valhalla as well.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And I think you don't need a new Assassin's Creed game every year. I mean, I like those games, but I think it's okay not to have one every year, actually.
Yeah, and they give more support to Valhalla, which is always nice. New DLCs are coming up, and they now support one-handed swords, which I didn't know it didn't before, but I haven't played Valhalla thoroughly yet. I didn't have time for that. I bought it, though, so I'm looking forward to that.
I finished it. I've also played Wrath of the Druids. Which was quite nice as well. I mean, I'm actually looking forward to the next DLC as well, because I like the world of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's a pretty decent game. Yeah,
and the DLCs sound interesting, all of them actually.
I think the next one is Paris. Yeah,
I think so.
Wrath of the Druids was Ireland, and I think the next one is Paris.
Yeah, I think so. Well, and then they showed a little bit more about Far Cry 6. And personally, I didn't like Far Cry 5 and 5B. But Far Cry 6 actually looks interesting. And they did something strange with their character styles. They are more stylized. They're less realistic. They more look like, well, from an animated cartoon or something. And I like that. So, I'm looking forward to that one. It
looks interesting. It's probably one of those games that is interesting, but that I probably won't buy because, there's so many games and so little time.
Yeah.
But I like their presentation. As you said, I like the character design. I like the silly weapons. But I'm not sure if it's enough to get me to buy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I'm a huge open world fan, and I will probably buy it. Maybe not when it comes out very early, but
when it's a little bit cheaper,
that might
be a good option there. Actually,
And there was a surprise. They announced Avatar. What do you think about that?
I mean, again, as I said before, every game is going to be delayed, and I think the Avatar game is also going to be delayed, but probably not because the game is not finished. I'm pretty sure they want to release the game together with the movie, and I'm pretty sure the movie is going to get delayed as well. So, here's the thing. Actually, I like the movie Avatar. Obviously, it has some flaws, but technically, I mean, if the movie's a really cool world, and I think a computer game set in that world is, I think, not a bad idea. If the game explores some stories or some kind of explores the world and gives us some backstory into the world that we don't get from the movies, that's okay with me. I think it looks very good, but as far as I understood, it seems to me like it's first person.
Yeah, it's first person.
And I think I would love an Avatar game where I'm kind of third person in Pandora. And obviously I get the idea that, if it's first person, it's probably going to be exactly like in the movie Avatar, where you become part of, or where you kind of switch into one of those Navi or whatever. But I just prefer third person games, honestly. Says the guy who just gushed on how much he loves Doom, but okay. That's different. It's totally different.
It's probably totally different. I see that they go where they want to go with this first person mode. And I think my problem is more that personally, I'm not a huge fan of the Avatar movie. And I'm not really interested to go to Pandora in a game. Maybe the new movie kind of rekindles that interest. But right now, personally, I'm not interested in Avatar. However, it does look technically
it looks gorgeous. It looks
impressive. Yeah.
It looks gorgeous, and if the gameplay is any good, it's definitely gonna be a game that might be worth checking out.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else we need to talk about Ubisoft? Say about Ubisoft? Probably not.
Probably not. No.
Let's move on. Bandai Namco.
Yeah. I mean, Bandai Namco, the most interesting thing about them would have been Elden Ring, but they had showed that off before the E3 and didn't show it again. They talked about some kind of horror anthology called Dark Pictures, which looked probably interesting if you're a horror fan. But I would have loved to hear more about Elden Ring. Even though it's kind of a Dark Souls in an open world, and I'm not a big Dark Souls fan. What about you?
I mean, I'm just too bad at gaming for Dark Souls.
Yeah, me too.
Obviously, Elden Ring is or was supposed to be, or kind of could be argued, is the big thing from Bandai Namco. I mean, it has George R.R. Martin, or I think he worked on the story. Not sure how much he's involved right now, because I think he should be writing books, but okay. Totally different topics. But yeah, I'm very confident that I'm not gonna play Elden Ring. Unless everyone says how good it is, then maybe. But if it's just what I expect it is, a Dark Souls in an open world environment, yeah, probably not.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I'm probably too bad to play a real Dark Souls game, and but I mean, if the open world aspect means that I can get out of my way to not have to do certain battles, maybe it would be interestingly story-wise. I mean, I am personally glad that George Martin does something new. And honestly, I don't believe that he ever will finish his books. I think this is
probably not.
This is broken. But anyway, Bandai Namco, not very interesting to me, at least.
Okay, let's move on to what probably was the biggest one: Microsoft Bethesda.
Yeah, and it was actually probably the best presentations of them all. I really like what they did, and it starts really great with Tim Howard being front and center, announcing, Bethesda is now part of Microsoft, but they will remain Bethesda. And I mean, that's great news, isn't it?
I mean, I was surprised as well that they start with Bethesda. I wouldn't be surprised if kind of Tim Howard takes on a different role in the future, maybe even within Microsoft, Xbox, or whatever. Because, I mean, they started their big presentation with him, and they started with kind of Bethesda's big announcement, and they kind of almost buried the big Microsoft game somewhere in the middle of the whole show. Because I was totally convinced that they would either start or end with Starfield, and end with Starfield or Halo, and end with the other one, and they didn't. So I think it shows that they have a lot of confidence in Bethesda. Not sure if it shows a lack of confidence in Halo. I don't know, but I thought that was very, very interesting.
Well, Starfield and Halo are two good points there. One thing is Starfield looks technically very impressive. They showed sort of a trailer that was in-game graphics. And
I don't know what that game is.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that. I mean, I like the style of the game. I like the style of the science fiction that they are trying to portray. But we don't know what it is. I assume it will be an open world role playing game similar to Skyrim. But that's just my assumption.
I think it's going to be either Fallout or Skyrim in space.
Oh yeah, Fallout would be a good point. Yeah, probably more Fallout than Skyrim with energy weapons and stuff. Yeah. But I'm excited.
It's kind of an unknown quantity, and there is always something exciting about that. But here's the thing: I'm not rushing to pre-order it yet, obviously, because it's not going to come out in 2022. Sorry.
The thing is, their release date is 11/11/22, which is exactly 11 years after Skyrim. Skyrim was released in 2011 at the 11th of November. So I think they will want to do that. Yeah, we will see what state the game would be in then.
We'll see.
We'll see. But the other thing is, you talked about Halo. And Halo had some nice announcement about that they want to make the multiplayer free and everything. My personal problem is I'm not interested in the multiplayer, and I kind of lost track of the Halo universe decades ago.
I mean, I'm replaying the Master Chief Collection because it's on Game Pass.
Okay.
But yeah, then I started playing Doom, and since then I haven't gone back.
Yeah. I know there are lots of Halo fans out there, and I know it's a great game, and it was...
I mean, I played 1 and 2, and I think I finished 1 and 2, and they're really, really good games. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Really good games, but yeah, I've found other things a little bit more exciting.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I think definitely when Halo comes out, I will definitely give it a shot because... Yeah, I think at this point I sound like a Game Pass commercial because, yeah, I already have it. I just need to download it. It's free, technically. Well, not really, but you get my drift.
But that's a good point, Greg. Game Pass, everything that Microsoft announced in their presentation will be available on Game Pass on day one. And I mean, this makes Game Pass like the Netflix of games or something.
I think that's the idea. I mean, isn't Far Cry 6 also part of Game Pass?
Yeah.
I mean, I think in that case, I will definitely play it.
And one other thing that is really, really great, that isn't that much interesting to you, Greg, but for me, is that everything that will be on Xbox will also be on PC day one. And I love that. I mean, I probably won't ever buy another Xbox, but I think the Xbox is just for those people who don't have a gaming rig. And for that, it is fantastic. And as you said, Greg, you really enjoy using your Xbox.
I'm really happy with my Xbox Series S. Really happy with that.
Yeah, but
okay, but let's talk about some other games because we're already 40 minutes into today's episode. Ooh.
Oh dear Lord! Yeah, there's so much.
Yeah, let's just quickly talk about some games of the Microsoft Bethesda presentation that at least I'm probably gonna check out on Game Pass. So, or I'm the host today. You go first.
Well, one game I already pre-ordered is Forza Horizon 5. And I mean, it's exactly the same like Forza Horizon 4 with another scenario, better graphics, but I love the Forza Horizon series. And I just like that.
I mean, did you how much is it to pre-order? Is it a 60, $70 game?
Yeah, I've pre-ordered it in Iceland, so it's cheaper.
But I mean, the thing is, I mean, if you want to play Forza Horizon, I mean, that's half a year of Game Pass.
That is actually true. However, the add-ons are not included in Game Pass. You just get the standard edition.
Yeah, you get just the standard edition.
Yeah, but yeah, you're totally right. If I didn't know I want Forza Horizon 5, Game Pass would have been the better choice. But since I have pre-ordered everything,
as kind of the gold edition or something.
Yeah, it's the premium edition, they call it, and I've pre-ordered it in Iceland, so it's a lot cheaper.
Okay.
But yeah,
I'm actually I'm not big into racing games as well, but I really like Forza Horizon 4. So I'm definitely gonna check this one out as well because I think it's set in Mexico.
Yeah,
I think they're using photogrammetry used photogrammetry for the environments, so they look photorealistic. So it's probably gonna be a really, really pretty game.
Most likely. And also, very quickly, I loved the announcement for Outer Worlds 2. I love the first Outer Worlds, and they made an announcement trailer or teaser where it's just this one guy saying, "Yeah, we've got nothing except the title," and the title is just Outer Worlds 2. I love that.
I think that the trailer was hilarious. The whole thing, how they showed this game off. Obviously, no idea what's going to be in the game.
Yeah, it's probably.
I like the first Outer Worlds, but it's one of those games I liked and I played, but I only played it once.
Mm-hmm.
So I think until now I didn't have the need to go back and replay it. So even though I really, really liked it, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's totally understandable. As I said, I love it, and I look forward to more of that. So I'm hyped. What would some of your games? What did you like?
I mean, I think the game is already in my download queue, and as soon as it's available, and I think it's in August or something, I'm gonna start playing that. Is Psychonauts 2.
Mm-hmm.
I love Double Fine games, and I replayed the first Psychonauts or parts of it recently, and it's a game that aged really, really well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Psychonauts 1 is also on Game Pass because Double Fine is also Microsoft Game Studio now, and I'm pretty excited, or I'm pretty sure that Psychonauts 2 is just gonna be more of the same with maybe newer technology, but the humor and the fun gameplay that we know and love from Double Fine. So I think of all the games that I can play in the near future, I would say that Psychonauts and Forza Horizon are the ones that I'm most interested in from the Microsoft Bethesda presentation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good... I would probably agree with you here. Shall we go further to the next company?
I think so too, because obviously we're not pressed for time, but we don't want this to be too long. So let's make these a little bit quicker because we probably need some time for one later there. Square Enix.
Yeah, that was kind of a bad presentation. It had too much focus on mobile games, in my opinion. And I know mobile gamers are gamers too, but for E3, I would have loved more Final Fantasy 16. But I mean, it was pretty clear that they wouldn't show that there because they had showed the teaser before. And the other Final Fantasy products, like the Final Fantasy Origin thing, I'm not really interested in that. It might be nice or something. But, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy looks nice.
Guardians of the Galaxy looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just hope it's better than Avengers was because, I mean, I'm not sure about you, but I haven't played too much of that Avengers game. It was a game I was really excited in, but then, the whole progression and, let's just say it wasn't a good game. It wasn't a good game. Or good game. I think there's... I mean, obviously, I don't know if they did anything to it. I haven't played it in a while. But when it came out, it just wasn't a good game.
That's sadly true. But the gameplay of Guardians of the Galaxy looks great so far. I would have hoped that
you play Star-Lord.
Yeah, that's one
to me
point.
that it's more like a single player experience, which kind of, I mean, if it's like a Tomb Raider game, but you're Star-Lord, that sounds okay.
I think that's pretty much the way they're going there. You play as Star-Lord and just as Star-Lord, which is a little sad. I would have loved to play with others. And yeah, it's apparently an action adventure, single player. And I'm not a huge fan of the character designs. I really don't like any of them. Sorry.
I didn't mind, but yeah.
I mean, it was clear it's not based on the MCU, and that's totally fine. I think that's a good idea. Now, they don't look the way I would have wanted them to. I would have preferred other designs from the comics. But I think the dialogue looks interesting, looks good. The voice actors seem to be great and everything. So I'm looking forward to that.
Let's hope for the best there.
Yeah, cautiously optimistic.
On, Capcom. I think we can do this one quick.
Yeah.
Really boring.
Yeah, that was a bad presentation, a very boring presentation, especially because, I mean, I look forward to Ace Attorney Chronicles, but showing, I don't know how much they showed of the game, but it's just boring to watch because it's essentially a visual novel. It was so boring.
And the thing is, I must have fallen asleep through that presentation because I missed the Marvel XCOM game.
No, there was nothing about that.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, let's go. Let's skip take two because there's nothing to miss there. They had nothing. So let's go to the second most interesting presentation, shall we?
Let's talk about Nintendo. Yes.
Yeah, and that was really good. I mean, if you look at it honestly, it was just a Nintendo Direct. It wasn't something that was especially produced for E3. It was just their Direct presentation. But it's okay. That was good. And there was a big surprise for me because they announced a new Metroid game, Metroid Dread. And it's essentially a 2D Metroid, but it's obviously with 3D graphics, so it's a 2.5D game from the creators of the 3DS Metroid remake, Metroid 2 remake, which I thought was okay. It wasn't great or anything, but it was okay. And in Metroid Dread, they tried to do that, to one-up that. And I think that could be cool.
I mean, I think the Switch needs a proper new Metroid game at this point, so maybe this is it. Maybe they're kind of secretly working on another full-fledged Metroid title as well. I don't know, but I would argue that if they release a proper Metroid title for the Switch, I'm probably going to get it.
They are working on a Metroid Prime for the Switch, but they had to kind of start from scratch with that, so they couldn't show anything. They just said again, they're working on a Prime, and it's coming. But yeah, for now we get Metroid Dread, and yeah, as you said, it's a great thing to have a new Metroid game for the Switch. Yeah. Their other big announcement, or it wasn't really an announcement, it just showed a little bit more of the Breath of the Wild 2 game, the new Zelda. And that looks interesting.
I mean, obviously I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's not going to come out in 2022. Pretty sure.
Nah, probably not.
I'm also pretty sure that it's not going to be titled Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah. They usually don't do that. Yes,
they're going to give it a completely different title. And I mean, people call it Breath of the Wild 2 because it obviously uses kind of the similar art style and maybe the same engine. But I'm pretty sure, and I think this little teaser or this little trailer actually showed some of it. They're probably trying to innovate a little bit with gameplay. It seems to me there's going to be flying involved in some sort, and I think some of the places you need to go are in the sky. So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of left the ground of Hyrule for the sky.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of, part of me wishes, part of me hopes that they bring back dungeons. I mean, I like the shrines and everything, but I would like an old school Zelda dungeon, or kind of old school Zelda kind of similar old school gameplay or Zelda gameplay with the new technology that the Switch provides. So I would really enjoy it. Kind of like a water temple or a mountain temple or a sky temple or things like that. And obviously we had the Divine Beasts, but it's not exactly the same as a dungeon.
No, it isn't.
I hope they, and I'm very confident that they're going to deliver a pretty good game.
Yeah. I mean, for the moment, they still call it Breath of the Wild 2 for, as you said, for the reason that it's pretty much the same game or the same.
Nintendo didn't give it a title. They just said 2022, no title.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. It's the unofficial title right now.
Obviously, there needs to be a way for you to find the video and everything. But
in
the video, nowhere it says Breath of the Wild 2.
That's true. It's just a date. But the thing is, right now there are a lot of people who just say that it looks like just a big DLC for Breath of the Wild, and I kind of understand where they're coming from. And I mean, because it's a sequel, it needs to have the same or much of the same gameplay, or it wouldn't be a sequel. I think that's totally fine, because the first Breath of the Wild did a great job there. It's okay to take that and just refine it a bit and make it more interesting. And I think now I kind of understand why they are releasing Skyward Sword, because I think they're kind of doing a Sky Kingdom in Breath of the Wild 2. Looks
maybe
like
a
it.
Sequel to that one.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the Zelda games are always a little bit interconnected with each other. Some of it is official, some of it is unofficial, but they're kind of interconnected. I think this will be interesting, but as you said, Christmas 22, I don't think so.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Kind of, for me, one other game that I thought looked kind of interesting because I love the first one is Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope.
Mm-hmm.
I like the first Mario and Rabbids, and I'm probably going to check this one out as well because, yeah, it's kind of like an XCOM game, and I like those. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a Nintendo Ubisoft game, so, yeah, that's kind of fun. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, yeah, for me it was Metroid and Breath of the Wild. But you had some other games you liked as well in the Nintendo presentation.
Yeah, one of them was Astria Ascending. It's a role-playing game from the guys who made the Dragon Crown games and Odin Sphere and stuff, with their slightly over-sexualized 2D drawing style. I'm looking forward to that, but that one is not Switch exclusive. I probably get it for a PC. Mm-hmm. The other is Shin Megami Tensei 5. And I was actually not that interested at first, but my son, who was watching the Nintendo panel with me, he kind of liked the style. And I explained him how the Shin Megami Tensei games work, not to be confused with the Persona games. They're different. They're kind of a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei games. And he thought it might be interesting. And it's it's very old school, so I will probably give that one a try.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's all we have to say about Nintendo.
Yeah, I think this is the most, or at least the things I feel are the most important to me.
I mean, there were other kind of showcases around kind of E3 as well. There was an indie showcase. They showcased some kind of limited run games. Anything we need to or want to add about that? Honestly, I did not watch the indie showcase. You probably did, didn't you?
Yeah, and it was very short. It was basically a 15-minute or so trailer show. There were two games I'm really interested in. One is Life Slide, which is kind of a paper plane flying game that might sound silly, but with the aesthetic they presented, I think that could be a very relaxing game. Mm-hmm. And the other is Fallen Aces, and it's kind of an old school Raycaster first person shooter, like Duke Nukem 3D or the original Dooms. And it looks a little bit like they're using the build engine from Duke Nukem 3D or from that kind of game. It's a noir style game, a little bit gory, but that's looked interesting. But yeah, and I've also watched the limited run games. I mean, I like to have my games in a digital format. Limited run games usually they're taking digital games and they publish it physically, which is great for a lot of people. I'm not one of them, but sometimes they have strange new announcements and strange deals. They also will be released digitally. And one of the strangest things they did was they have an English translation for Castlevania Rondo of Blood, but not for a current generation console, but for the original TurboGrafx 16 CD add-on, the Turbo Duo, which I think is brave. And
how
very,
many
very
of those are
interesting.
still around? 10?
I think there are a lot of fans that still have that. And I think for them, because up to now it was a Japanese game, I think for them it will be a great deal. But other than that, they announced they release Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, which is is a 3DO game that I don't know why anyone wants to play that. It's a sort of erotic or something that would have probably be considered erotic. I don't know. I don't know why anyone.
Sweet.
Yeah. Just very, very quickly to finish this off, I watched the Intellivision presentation.
Oh my God, what is that?
Yeah.
Who's that for?
For those who don't know, the original Intellivision was a console by Mattel in the late 70s, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Or at least. And they kind of make the Amico, which is a modern take on that console, but well, I don't know. It looks so strange. It kind of looks like a baby phone. It looks like an Angel Care product. And it has very, very cheaply made mobile games, I would say.
I mean, to me, the idea behind it, I actually think it's okay. Kind of casual games, families, whatever. But you don't need to create a device for that. I mean, I think the device is... I mean, every phone or every Switch is basically better at what they're trying to give me there. And the controller, I mean, is that a click wheel or is that an old Pong controller? Because I wasn't sure. And I'm just seriously asking, I mean, who is this for?
Yeah.
And I I mean, yeah, obviously, I mean, maybe there's smarter people at work there than I am, but I doubt that this will be a breakout product. I doubt it. But yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But
it's too expensive for that. I mean, it costs, I think, $240 or something dollars.
And for that money, I get a cheap phone where I can play most of these games on as well.
Yeah, or a Switch Lite, basically.
Yeah.
I don't understand who this is for, like you. Plus, the whole presentation was by Tommy Tallarico, and he is, I don't like him. He is kind of an arrogant, self-loving, yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on.
So, I mean, this is pretty much, or kind of most of her presentations we talked a little bit about. Obviously, there was one big absentee, and this was Sony. Mm-hmm. Sony kind of released state of plays of kind of most their upcoming game. I mean, in a way, Sony still won E3 because they just released Ratchet and Clank on the day that E3 started. So yeah, so other companies, they talk about games, we deliver you or we give you a pretty good game. So maybe that's how Sony tried to win E3. I don't know, but yeah, obviously we don't have to say that I watched the Horizon Forbidden West state of play, and yeah, I'm obviously gonna get that. Mm-hmm. Anything else we would have liked to see besides the Marvel XCOM game? Yeah,
I mean, I would have loved to see things from Sony, as you said. And as I said before, I would have loved to see more of Final Fantasy 16 or of Elden Ring. Maybe have George R.R. Martin there in the panel or something. That would have been fun. Yeah. And of course, the Marvel XCOM game. We know next to nothing about that. That would have been great if they could have told us something about that. Yeah.
So to wrap it up, what's the most exciting thing for you, E3? The thing you want to most, the thing you're most excited about?
Well, that's a good question, actually. I've been asking that myself as well. I mean, there is, for example, a game I haven't talked about before called the Ayuden Chronicles, which is some sort of a Suikoden game in modern. That is great. The Astria Ascending, I'm looking forward to that. Forza Horizon, that Fallen Aces I have talked about. Far Cry 6, perhaps. And in the long run, probably it's Starfield, Breath of the Wild 2, and Outer Worlds 2. Mm-hmm. What about you?
I mean, these are all fine games, and I mean, yeah, Breath of the Wild, Outer Worlds, Starfield, Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, they're all excited or all exciting. Or Horizon, Forza Horizon. There's so many games with Horizons in there. It's so confusing. But I think my biggest takeaway from this whole thing was that signing up for Game Pass was a really good idea. Or maybe it was also a bad one. I don't know that one yet. But for example, it looks like I'm going to have another staycation this summer.
Okay.
So probably Game Pass is going to help me through that.
Yeah, I mean, that is certainly the best deal you can make right now. When it comes to gaming, I should really buy one, huh?
I think you should. You should, yeah. You should. I mean, and I think we should sell some ads for Microsoft. I mean, this was basically a Game Pass ad for Microsoft. So Microsoft, come on, pay us.
Holy,
pay us.
E3 was one.
Pay us. Yeah, I think we can wrap up our coverage of E3. I think it's always exciting to talk about upcoming things because we're cautiously optimistic about at least some of these games, and I'm looking forward to play a lot of these games.
So am I.
Quick, let's it's housekeeping. As we said once or twice this episode, we're going to take a little summer break. Mm-hmm. But don't worry, you don't have to. Yeah, we're not going away completely. For the next few weeks, Pat and I will do some unplugged episodes where we recommend certain things. My plan is kind of to give you some little book reviews or kind of little book suggestions, maybe even some streaming suggestions, kind of to get you through summer, to kind of give you some content to sink your teeth into while we're while you're away or while you're on holiday or while you're doing whatever you're doing. And then probably August or something, we're gonna be back with a big episode. I think we're probably gonna do the Loki and Black Widow one.
Yeah.
What are your plans for the unplugged episodes this summer? Any hints you can drop? Retro gaming.
Well, it's true that probably 1 or 2 episodes will involve some sort of retro gaming content. But yeah, I have that geek parent thingy that I try to have 1 or 2 episodes. We'll see. It's probably more gaming centered than our usual episodes. But yeah, I mean, this is where I'm an expert in, and Greg isn't. It's really hard to be an expert in something that Greg isn't.
You found your niche.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be our summer programming. I hope you'll, obviously check out these unplugged episodes in the next few weeks. And then, as I said, in August, we're coming back stronger than ever. Hopefully with, new content that we might be able to consume together in a movie theater. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows?
Okay, so let's wrap this up. This is it for this week. Please like, share, and subscribe to our little podcast here. We're on all major podcasting services, YouTube, and on www.passionofthegeeks.com. You can send in questions, suggestions, and declarations of love, or feedback, or topic suggestions, I don't know, to passionofthegeeks@gmail.com. And you can also find us on Twitter @PassionOTGeeks. So yeah, Pat, it was really nice talking to you again. Have a nice summer, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see or hear from each other from time to time over summer.
We will definitely. So have a nice vacation, Greg, and take care.
And our listeners, take care over summer. Vaya con Dios, bro.